The ability to get creative in your real estate transaction hinges on how much you know or how much your agent knows about those creative solutions. So for sellers that have a really low interest rate right now, remember. Welcome back, folks, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. Thank you to David Stein with Crown Home Mortgage for coming on the show. He was on. He had his own show here for several years on WTMA, so hopefully a familiar voice for some of you that are longtime WTMA listeners. But David, appreciate it. I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about our local market for just a moment, and then I really want to talk about, I think, what it takes to sell a home in this market the right way. And first, I just want to say that I appreciate those of you that listen to this program, rely on its information to help shape your understanding of the market. It's what I really enjoy doing, is educating. Of course, I love my job and selling real estate. I've been doing it for 18 years. No end in sight. Still love it every day. And love helping folks. So if you're thinking of buying, selling, investing in real estate, maybe you have a home that you'd like for us to manage, then feel free to reach out to us. The number is 843-800-0065, 843-800-0065, or check us out online, listingsincharleston.com or brianbeattyteam.com. Or you can shoot me an email if that's easier for you, brian@brianbeattyteam.com. So let's start first with just a quick synopsis of our market, where we are right now, and we'll kind of roll in and out of these stats pretty quickly. New listings this is for the Tri-County area, right? Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester County combined. New listings are down about 15%. Pending sales or homes under contract are down about 10%. Closings are down 18%. Days on market has basically doubled. Year to date last year, we were at 18 homes. Now we're at 35. So things are taking a little over a month. I will say that for, frankly, years leading up to COVID, the average days on market was usually right around 2 months. So we're still below that number, but I can understand a lot of sellers' frustration when they hit the market and their home doesn't immediately sell like we've been used to for the past few years. The median sales price is up about 2%. In fact, at the end of September last month, we were at $415,000. September of 2022, we were at $401,000. Properties are getting 97% of their asking price. That's down from basically 100% this time last year. We talked about the home affordability index a little bit. We're at 65, meaning median incomes right now in the Charleston Tri-County area are only 65% of what is needed to qualify for the median priced home, which is $415,000. Given prevailing interest rates and a 20% down payment. So you can understand why a lot of folks are struggling with purchasing a home right now. A lot of them have just frankly been priced out of the market. When we look at inventory of homes is down 11%. So we're harboring it right or a little under 3,000, 2,900-ish total homes for sale. Now, that number has climbed fairly significantly since the beginning of COVID, right? We've put about 1,500 or so more properties on the market. So in theory, you could say that it's doubled since the beginning of COVID, when in reality, we still need several thousand more housing units to reach what I think is stabilization in our market, where there's no real undersupply or oversupply of homes, no upward or downward pressure on pricing. And then if you look at showings, overall activity, the interesting thing, and this is what I talk with a lot of sellers about when I'm meeting with them and we're talking about the process of selling their home, is that success leaves clues, right? And when you have your home on the market for sale, like if I'm an agent and someone calls me and says, "Hey, Brian, I want to go and look at 3 homes this coming Tuesday," they give me the list of homes and the times they want to see it. I go online and I schedule those showings through a service called Showing Time. All agents do it. It's a free service. So, why not? It makes every agent and seller's life easier, and buyers as well. So the cool thing about that is all of the showings that are occurring on all listings are tracked. So we know when we sit down with a seller, homes in your area, in your price range, on average, are getting X number of showings per month, and it's taking X number of showings in total before something goes under contract. Now, it's not the end-all be-all statistic, but it's a good benchmark. it helps us measure the activity that we receive once we hit the market. If we're at or above that number, then we're right where we need to be. We're in the strike zone. We should be getting an offer anytime. We just haven't found that specific buyer for that specific house yet. But of course, on the other side of things, if we're supposed to be getting 8 showings a month and we get 1 or 2, that's a cause for conversation, right? Well, market-wide, showings are down about a little over 25% on a 12-month average from this time last year. So activity is just going down, and that makes sense too, right? Interest rates have gone up. Affordability is basically at an all-time low in Charleston since we've been tracking that stat. So it makes purchasing hard, and it makes selling just different than what a lot of people have been used to. A lot of folks have just banked the idea that if they put their home on the market, it's going to be under contract by the end of the weekend or by next week. It'll take a few days, but we'll have a bunch of people fighting over it, and we'll choose the best offer, and we move on to the next chapter of our lives. And that's just not really the case anymore. It is for certain areas, and that's why I try to avoid making blanket statements on this program, because you could look at areas of North Charleston between $200,000 and $350,000, and those things are getting lit up with showings and offers. That's an extremely competitive market because it's one of the few markets left where you can buy an affordable renovated home. You look at areas like Mount Pleasant, and I've got these stats pulled up just for the sake of discussion. The average sales price at the end of September was $1.3 million. That's up 12% from this time last year, which is, for a lot of folks, that especially those that have lived here for a long time, they're like, that is crazy. That's where we are. I mean, 10 years ago, I want you guys to think about this for a second. 10 years ago, in 2013, it was under 400,000. You've made almost $1 million or so in appreciation just by hanging on to your home for that amount of time, which goes back to what David was saying about the cost of waiting. We're fully aware, let me just say, of the idea that the market is positioned to correct. It's correcting as we speak. Does that mean prices might come down in the short term? Yes, but if you spread that timeline out, at least far enough, you weather the storm, you get back to where you were, and you start appreciating again. Now, I don't personally think we are in line for a major crash like what we saw in 2008. Of course, anything's possible, but I'm cautioning people to be informed at the moment. I think that's the best we can do right now, is be informed, and then let's have serious discussions about the logistics associated with moving right now. Like David and I were mentioning, the ability to get creative in your real estate transaction hinges on how much you know or how much your agent knows about those creative solutions. So for sellers that have a really low interest rate right now, remember, almost 2/3 of all Americans have an interest rate at or below 4% on their mortgage, which is crazy and awesome. That gives you the ability to be creative when selling your home. Maybe you're okay with having a buyer assume your mortgage. I will tell you this, if I'm a buyer and I'm looking at 2 homes that are the exact same, and one I can get for a 4% interest rate and one I can get for an 8% interest rate, I'm more than happy to pay a higher purchase price for a lower payment on a 4% mortgage than I am on an 8% mortgage. Or we can talk about things like seller financing. And I did a show about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little longer, where we went through some creative financing alternatives. And if you guys go to YouTube, I've got over 800 videos on YouTube that talks about all different kinds of scenarios and educates you in a bunch of different ways as it relates to housing. So I encourage you to go to YouTube and just search the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show or the Brian Beatty team to tap into that database of knowledge. But I want to focus for just a few minutes here when we come back on the creative solutions that you have access to when selling your home when we come back. So give me a call if you'd like to discuss working together. You've got some questions. You want to hear about our incentives. We're offering a lot of incentives to people right now because we understand times are tough. We want your transaction to be productive and profitable just like we do. So feel free to reach out to us and we'll tell you more about how we can help kind of soften the blow with regard to cost, pass-through savings, lower commission rates down to 2.4%. The number to call, 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. Or check us out online at listingsincharleston.com. Stick around for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com.